Hi guys, I hope you are all well. I'm still working on the video about the Lemurians in my quest to know my history, but I had a question by our sweet Peggy Miller. Peggy has touched me as a really good person and I'm happy to know her. I thought that I'd turn this comment into a video because I'm sure there are many of us out there that have broken a bone or are aging and getting concerned about our bones getting brittle. And of course, the doctors want to push more drugs on us. Also, I feel so bad that it took me so long to answer Peggy that I want to make sure that she gets my response. So here we go. Don't forget to give the video a thumbs up. Share it if you know someone that might benefit from it. And subscribe to the channel as we explore ways that we can break free of the industrial medical system. At Peggy Miller 9064 asked the following.
I just went through a very tough time with a hip replacement where my femur broke and further surgery was needed. I was very sick from the blood loss and needed a blood transfusion. You can imagine my thoughts as to what was in that blood if the donor had the jab. I'd like to ask you what you know about T-cell use in regrowth of cartilage. I was told they only do that on young athletic people and want to know why. Do T-cells of old people not replicate to be able to be injected into the joint? I don't ever want to go through this again. I feel like an invalid and hate to ask for help.
I am so sorry for taking so long to get to this. I apologize, Peggy. I don't know how I missed it, except I got really backed up. This system is very difficult for keeping track of comments, or at least I'm not good at knowing how to use it. First, don't worry. I had to have a transfusion shortly after COVID, too. I fought and had my own donors, but they wouldn't let me wait for their blood to be processed. Don't focus on it. It looks like it was a small percentage of the vaccine lots that were tainted. These are the reports that I've heard. I want to say about 20% of only the mRNA jabs. Of course, lots more is yet to be uncovered about that whole deal, but don't focus on what might be lest you manifest it. If you are okay and don't have any symptoms, your body is fighting whatever you got. I can only say that I felt like a different person after I got the transfusion. It's a long story, but both my dad and I have a history of this weird blood disease that nobody has seen before. Long story, but might be related to our time at Fort Bragg. Now that I think of it, my mom also had transfusions a couple of times. Anyway, I've never really seen anything credible or validated that large numbers of people are having issues from transfusions yet. Okay, so I had to research the T-cell issue. I don't have personal knowledge of it because they really weren't doing it back when I was practicing, so I had to look it up. Here's what I found as simply as I can put it. T-cells deal with immunity by recognizing antigens and affecting inflammation, so they are not directly involved in regrowth of cartilage, which relies on different cells like MSCs or chondrocytes that turn into cartilage tissue. T-cells are being studied because they may indirectly help by decreasing inflammation and supporting stem cell therapy. There are some experimental T-cell-based therapies using genetically modified T-cells, CAR T-cells, for joint diseases like rheumatoid or osteoarthritis. But this isn't the case with your hip, and I don't trust genetically modified anything. Remember, my goal is to get away from big pharma, frankenfoods, and the medical and food industrial complexes. So after reviewing T-cell therapy for cartilage rebuilding, it looks to me like T-cell therapy alone wouldn't be of much help in actually rebuilding cartilage, also known as chondrogenesis. T-cells may relieve pain due to decreased inflammation, but it would need to be combined with MSCs to promote chondrogenesis. Current research on T-cells for cartilage repair is mostly in preclinical stages, with no FDA-approved T-cell therapies specifically for cartilage regrowth. Most clinical trials for cartilage repair focus on MSCs, PRP, or gene therapies. And to answer your question about the efficacy of T-cells in the elderly, that's a good question, and yes, aging does lead to a decline in T-cell function. While there are no studies on it, younger T-cells are likely more effective. Personally, I would use my food as my medicine. A diet rich in collagen, omega-3, vitamin C, D, and K, sulfur compounds, and antioxidants are found in fatty fish, bone broth, egg whites, leafy greens, berries, and cruciferous vegetables. These all support cartilage health and reduce inflammation. In severe cases, foods may not fully rebuild cartilage, and you might consider MSC therapy or mesenchymal stem cell therapy, which is a regenerative treatment that uses adult stem cells to repair damaged tissues like cartilage, particularly in conditions such as osteoarthritis or cartilage injuries. MSCs can actually differentiate into cartilage-forming cells known as chondrocytes and secrete growth factors and anti-inflammatory molecules to promote tissue healing and reduce joint inflammation. In the procedure, mesenchymal stem cells are harvested, concentrated, and injected into the affected joint or implanted with a scaffold to stimulate cartilage regeneration. While promising, MSC therapy remains experimental in many regions, with variable outcomes, limited long-term data, and limited regrowth. It's most effective for early-stage joint damage in younger patients, but it's important to carefully consider MSC therapy due to costs which will likely not be covered by insurance because it's still considered as experimental in most cases. The FDA has approved MSC therapy for specific conditions, such as Ryoncil for steroid-refractory acute graft versus host disease, AGVHD, in pediatric patients. These approved treatments may be covered by insurance, including Medicare, if deemed medically necessary. In addition to the cost, which is $5,000 to $25,000 per treatment, it's important to remember that there have been inconsistent results regarding cartilage regrowth. Personally, if I wanted to do something to help, I'd try those stem cell patches that I found out about a few months back. They're not invasive and a lot of people have had great results. It's not experimental and it's a much safer and natural way to go. I will link the video at the end. Use your food and your energy to heal the damage, Peggy. I will add a list of foods that will help build cartilage at the end of this video. I can tell you that I eat a nice amount of egg whites every morning for the collagen, and I fell down a long flight of steps a few weeks back and didn't break anything. That's pretty good for 70 years old. When I was in my 50s, I was breaking my bones a lot, and at about 60, I started eating egg whites every day and haven't broken anything since. I also walk and do light weights a few times a week. I realize that right now, you can't exercise and you certainly wouldn't want to overdo, but I would definitely listen to the physical therapist and let them help you transition into some sort of regular, light exercise for mobility, and also to keep the engine running smoothly. Lots of good fluids lubricate everything when we move. Hope that helps. So now let's look at the best way to build cartilage through diet. Most studies and dietary recommendations for cartilage health and collagen production emphasize foods with higher collagen content, like bone broth or nutrients critical for collagen synthesis, such as vitamin C from citrus fruits. Bone broth is rich in collagen, gelatin, and amino acids that support cartilage structure. It also contains glucosamine and chondroitin, which may reduce joint pain and support cartilage repair. Fatty fish like salmon, mackerel, and sardines are high in omega-3 fatty acids and vitamin D. Omega-3s reduce inflammation, which can protect cartilage from degradation, and vitamin D supports calcium metabolism and joint health. Leafy greens like spinach, kale, and Swiss chard are packed with antioxidants like vitamin C and vitamin K and minerals. Vitamin C is a cofactor essential for collagen synthesis and protects cartilage from oxidative stress. It's crucial for cartilage strength and repair, so citrus fruits should also be included. As vegetarians, Tim and I eat a lot of spinach, which gives us iron and magnesium. Blueberries, strawberries, and blackberries are high in antioxidants like anthocyanins and vitamin C. They neutralize free radicals that damage cartilage and support collagen production. We also eat a combination of organic berries nearly every night. Egg whites are a good source of protein and contain amino acids like glycine and proline that are involved in collagen synthesis. They contribute to overall protein intake, which supports tissue repair, including cartilage. Before we close this out, there are 3 dietary supplements that have shown the most reliable results related to cartilage and joint health, so let's take a quick look. Glucosamine sulfate at a dose of 1,500 milligrams per day supports cartilage matrix production and may reduce joint pain and inflammation. Studies show modest benefits for osteoarthritis, particularly in the knee. Chondroitin sulfate in doses of 800 to 1,200 milligrams a day, combined with glucosamine, enhances cartilage elasticity and inhibits cartilage breakdown. Collagen peptides, type 2 at doses of 10 to 40 grams a day, provides building blocks for cartilage collagen. Some trials suggest it reduces joint pain and improves function, especially in active individuals. I'll end this with a quote from Dr. Vijay Vad, a sports medicine specialist. "Joints don't wear out from movement. They wear out from lack of it."